Good morning, welcome back to my channel. It's Sunday the 6th of April 2025 and it's about 9:45. I'm going to kick off as normal with what's for the basket. We have here Cape herbs and spices. This is Louisiana Cajun spices. Now, I don't know if you're all aware that not all Cajun spices are free. We did a recipe in group, I think it was called Vegetable Gumbo, and Cindy had quite a job to find Cajun spices that weren't once in a teaspoon. But this one is free. It's £3.49 in Morrison's, currently on offer at £2.50, and you get 100 grams. There is another one that's free, but you only get 36 grams for £2.50, so this is far better value. So that's what I'm going to put in the basket this week. Okay. My word of affirmation this week is costs. COSTS, which is worth £6. So that's £6 for the Salvation Army toy peel pot. Costs, the cost of doing Slimming World, and I don't mean just the financial cost of doing Slimming World. I mean the things in my life that it has cost me to give up, that I now choose to go without, that have changed. And I'm only talking about my life. This is not your life, this is my life. And some of these things might never apply to you. So I've emailed Joe a list, which I'm hoping he's got up on his phone, and we'll just run through the first 10 things that came to mind. And it took me about 3 minutes to write this list, so they're all relevant things. They're not stuff I've had to drag from the bottom of nowhere. Okay, Joe?
Okay, letting go of the foods that made you fat.
Yeah, the cost of letting go of the foods that made me fat. When I look back on the way I used to choose to eat, I was a great lover of pastries, pies, chip shop chips, chip shop pie and chips, pizza, all the things that were just stodge, basically. Because the way I experienced life was to feel stuffed full of food, and I thought that was comforting, I thought that was satisfying, I thought that was how I should feel, because that's how I'd always felt. So I had to choose to let go of a load of the foods that made me fat. And I've since realised that most of those foods were not my favourite foods anyway. It was just the way they made me feel. I was forever chasing that dopamine hit. Number 2, Joe.
Cutting out trigger foods.
Yes, that's something I've become more and more aware of as I've gone through the weight loss process with Slimming World. What are my trigger foods? And these will be different for everybody. And what did I need to cut out? A lot of my trigger foods were based around sugar. A lot of my trigger foods were things that, again, gave me a dopamine hit. And a lot of my trigger foods are the things I have to choose not to fall into today. So a trigger food for me would be something like a Pizza Hut pizza. Not a Domino's pizza, not a Papa John's pizza, not a pizza from a supermarket. It was always Pizza Hut. Now, we had a Pizza Hut in our town. Fortunately, it closed 10 years ago. And then about 18 months ago, it reopened in a different venue, which is literally not far from where I live. And I've had to learn that that is not a good place for me to go. Before I came back to Slimming World, I actually had a pizza one night with my brother because he was staying with us. And I have to say, it didn't do it for me anymore. It just didn't do it for me anymore. So I'm grateful that there are a lot of trigger foods, but for me, most of those trigger foods are involved with eating out, eating takeaways, etc. And I can choose very easily today just not to go there. Number 3?
A need to moderate junk foods and maybe alcohol.
Yeah, the cost of moderation. Because I've always been a very excessive person. I can be a very all or nothing person. I think that's a lot to do with my birth sign. I'm a typical Virgo. I want it all, I want it now. That sort of attitude. Letting go of a lot of these junk food things to me was like, I feel deprived. But I looked at my friends and thought, do they do this? Most of my friends who are normal, quotes, size, not fat, not thin, just average, whatever, don't indulge in the way I used to choose to do. And junk food for me again, always tended towards sugar. My taste is savoury. If I had a choice between a slice of chocolate cake and a cheese and onion sandwich, I would choose the cheese and onion sandwich every time. But junk food with that addictive kind of property is what I used to chase. I don't anymore, because I've learned that that is not what I really enjoy, that is not what I really need, and it's just not good for me to be around. Was that the question that involved alcohol as well? Yeah. Alcohol for me is not a big deal. Grew up in a pub, seen the effects of alcohol, don't want most of them. I do like a whiskey in the winter for warming purposes, but as soon as the weather changes, I don't drink it. I haven't had any whiskey for about 6 or 8 weeks. And then it's one measure, and I measure it, and I count it in my sins. I'm not a wine drinker. I know I hear a lot of people on Slimming World in different groups and things say, oh, it's never a glass of wine, it's a bottle. My God, you'd have to force me to drink a glass. I'm just not, it's not my taste. I've still, although I've got a bottle in the fridge, I've still never had Prosecco. I don't want it. It makes me think of the 1970s and Astor Spumante. And stuff like that. That's the sort of thing that I don't want to spend my sins on today. I know that I have the number of sins that suits me. I know I have the food that suits me, and I feel so much better for it. Why would I want to go back to the junk and the booze? Next.
Considering what you mean by a treat.
Yeah. This is a question I've had to sit and think about, considering what I mean by a treat. And I have to say, I've got to the stage, I'm well over 10 months back on Slimming World, and I'm at the stage where I think a treat does not have to involve food even. I mean, yeah, you could have a healthy treat on Slimming World. I can say I like avocado, I could have an avocado on Slimming World. I can say I like cheeses, although cheese is not something I eat every day. All of those things, but they're not treats. That, to me, that's food, that's nourishment, that's fuel. It's not a treat. To me today, a treat rarely involves food and drink. To me today, a treat is sliding into a really clean, crisp bed. A treat is going for a walk in the sunshine like we're going to in a little while, probably by the river, and it's enjoyable. And it's a treat to be able to do that for me, because it's not something I could do on my own. I'm reliant on Joe to take me because I'm blind. It's good of him to give the time, but that gives me a treat. A treat to me is when I went out a couple of weeks ago, Joe had come in and he cleaned my house from top to bottom. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. That was such a treat. A treat to me is Mother's Day, when your son buys you a mug that says, I am not bossy, I am the boss. That was a treat. It would not have been a treat if he bought me a box of chocolates or even flowers, because he has such bad hay fever and I don't like cut flowers in the house. I can weigh up today what for me is a treat. And the old me only ever saw something you could eat as a treat. Today I don't think it is. Next one.
Stop comparing yourself to anyone else.
Yeah, this is something I had to give up, the cost of comparing myself to somebody else. Because every time I compare myself to somebody else, I come away dissatisfied. I compare myself badly. She's taller than me, she's thinner than me, she's prettier than me, she's got dark hair. I used to have that when I was young. Everything becomes a negative. If I only focus on me, not in a selfish way, I'm not saying that, but if I only focus on me and I compare myself to the me I was 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, it's a positive. If I focus on watching what somebody else is doing, is she losing more weight than me? Is she finding it easier than me? Is she able to go and learn, do running? Is she going to the gym? All of those things, and in my head it becomes, Jane, you're negative. You're losing, you're not as good, you're incapable. I don't need any of that. I need the positives. So if I compare myself to where I was sometime previously, it comes out as a positive because I'm putting the work in, I'm putting the effort in, and I'm gaining enthusiasm. Next one.
Stop making excuses at the scales.
Oh, I love this one. And I'm not just talking about my group, because I love my group. I'm talking about every Slimming World out group out there. When people from the scales come into image therapy or whatever and start saying, I had to do this, I had to do that, everybody does this, everybody does that. Oh, wow. You're not impressing anybody because everybody doesn't do this, everybody doesn't do that. Let's all talk about ourselves. Let's claim what we do. Let's be responsible and take ownership for what we do. So I don't enjoy sitting in a group when it's Christmas and everybody comes off plan at Christmas. No, they don't. I didn't. That's not because I'm better than you. That's because I chose not to. Last week, Mother's Day, wasn't it? The number of people I've spoken to this week who've said, I had a game because it was Mother's Day. No, you didn't. You didn't have a game because it was Mother's Day. You had a game because you chose to, I don't know, maybe your kids bought you a box of chocolates or a cake. You chose to eat it. You had a game because you chose to take the day off plan instead of going out and eating an on-plan lunch, which you can do if you want to. I just feel so passionate about the fact that it doesn't matter that it's Mother's Day, it's a Sunday, it's another day. Mother's Day can't make you do anything. We choose to do it. So if we choose to come off plan because it's Mother's Day and we choose to accept a gain and take ownership of it, that's not a problem, that's not a crime. But don't sit in your group or sit in my group or expect me to have done the same thing. I feel so passionately about it. You know, I don't have to. It was my best friend's daughter's 18th birthday yesterday. Yeah? So, she had a lovely day. But it didn't have to make me eat anything, did it? I could have chosen to. But you don't have to. You can't blame a day. I believe today I am only responsible for my actions and taking ownership of them. And if I choose today to go out there and go to a restaurant or go to a gelato, what's it called, gelato, that stuff you like, gelato place, or do whatever, I'm taking ownership. It's my responsibility, it's my choice. But it being Mother's Day, I don't make me do anything unless I choose to. So don't make excuses at the scale. You know, it was my husband's birthday, did you eat it? It was my grandchild's birthday. Did you eat it? It don't wash. When you've heard it for 50 years, it just doesn't wash. Next one.
No more than 15 sins, but no less than 5.
Yeah. I've been watching videos this week, especially in the early hours of the morning, because I wake up very, very early. Now, I've watched so many videos this week, people who aren't necessarily around anymore, because some of these videos were from 2020, 2019. Some were from quite recently, but so many people thinking it's clever not to eat sins. I'm doing an SP week, I'm having no sins this week. I'm doing a this, I had no sins today. Is that clever? Because it don't impress me. It's not what the book says. And I know people will probably think, oh, she goes again, pain in the arse, stick to the rules. If you don't stick to the rules, you don't get the best results. And the plan says 5 to 15 for a reason. If you start this and within no time at all you're doing that, I'm having no sins, when your body does start to plateau, or when you are struggling, for want of a better word, where are you going to go from there? Because the only way is up. The only way to go from no sins is to up your sins. And you up your sins, you could well gain weight. This is why I'm not a lover of the, what is it called, Slim for Life book. I did it when I got to Target and then I followed the relevant portion of the Slim for Life book. I gained weight. Because if you up your calories, the chances are you could. But when people come on camera, make a video claiming to be doing Slimming World and do that, I didn't have any sins. I didn't have an A choice. I don't have B choice. You're not following the plan. And, you know, disagree with me if you want to, but read your book. Because in the book it says 5 to 15 sins. And I know that most days I'm pushing towards a 15, but I can. And when I can't, then I might drop them to 10, but not yet. I don't need to. I'm not doing Operation Starvation. I'm not doing Operation Deprivation. And I'm not following a plan that I cannot sustain. I think I'm up to about 320 consecutive days on this plan because I can. And I don't go hungry. But if I cut out all of my sins, and I use my sins in my meals, I don't use them like for snacks and things, I actually use them in my meals. But if I cut out all of those sins and couldn't put the sauces on my meals, etc., etc., I won't stick to it for very long. Give it a go. Do the 5 to 15. Possibly if you've got a reasonable amount of weight to lose and you're quite new to the plan, push it towards the 15. You won't stick to a plan that becomes so much of a diet that you are always hungry. You just won't. We're human beings. We don't function like that. Next one, Joe.
Spending more time in the kitchen cooking or washing dishes.
Yeah, I think one of the costs of this plan is that I have to be prepared to spend more time in the kitchen. I mean, I'm lucky because Joe's a good cook and he cooks a lot of my meals when he's around. When he's not, I cook them. But I do the dishes. The thing is, if you're somebody who doesn't like washing dishes, who doesn't like washing pans, who doesn't like cooking, you're going to have to find a way of doing this plan by using Slimming World meals from Iceland and things like that. Ready-made salads, ready-made, ready-prepped vegetables, all that kind of thing. It's doable. It's doable. If you're somebody who's short of time because you have a high-powered job and you're at the house a lot, or you've got a number of kids and they need you. But you've got to be prepared to spend time in the kitchen, even if it's only doing the dishes, when you're knackered. At the end of the day, it doesn't work to think, I'm too tired to bother about me. You are important. You are worth it. Spend that time to think about what you're going to have. Don't just grab, what am I going to say, some crab sticks, a boiled egg. That's not a meal. Make yourself a meal, you're worth it. And is there one more?
Yeah, committing to a good group when you find one.
Yeah, I think it's crucial to find a good group, not just any old group. You need to find one where you feel like you belong, where you've got a consultant who speaks your language, where you've got a consultant who's motivating and encouraging, and where you feel like a part of the group. You're not the Billy No Mates sitting on the back row thinking, I don't like this because nobody talks to me. Talk to them. I could quite easily sit in group and talk to nobody because I could just pretend I'm on my own and I want to be that way. You have to make an effort. But find a good group, commit to going every week and commit to stay into image therapy. It's some time for you and you're worth it. Last one, I think?
Yeah, being prepared to buy the best food your budget can afford.
We all have a different budget. I think I spend probably £100 to £120 a week on my food. That's what I choose to do. Not everybody can do that. Some people will spend more. But you're worthy of good food. Good food, good nourishment. It keeps you going more than junk food. I find that if I eat well, I feel well, I function well, I've got the energy because I eat my carbs. That works for me, it might not work for you. But I've got the energy to say to Joe, right, okay, let's do this video, let's put it up, which will take a few minutes, and then let's get out there. We've got to go and pick a parcel up, but let's get out there and go for a really good long walk because it's a beautiful sunny day. The old me, who used to be 22 stone when she started all this weight loss lark, would have curled up on the settee and said, I can't do it. I haven't got any energy, I'm knackered. I don't want to, I just don't want to. And I wasn't living. I was barely existing at that point. Was that point number 10?
Yeah, that was.
Right, okay, I'm just going to go on to say, this week at group I weighed in on Tuesday, which is what I always do. Don't make my videos till the weekend, but I weigh in on a Tuesday. And this week at group I lost £1. which takes me to a spot on 10 stone or £140 loss since I started. Now, I can celebrate that in a small way. It's not where I was, because at one point I was 13 stone 6 down. I don't want to be 13 stone 6 down today. I don't want to be anywhere near it. I'm a lot older and wiser. But I am grateful that within the, 45 weeks I've been back at Slimming World, I've lost 48 pounds and £1 away from a 3.5 stone loss. And to be honest with you, back in May last year, I never dreamt this would happen, because I thought I was just going to bloody struggle. I didn't think I could get back into it. I didn't think I could follow it. I didn't think I could stick to it. I didn't think I could find a group, because my consultant had left, and she was the main thing that inspired me and kept me going. But I have found a group. I found a really good consultant called Yvonne. Her group moved. It didn't work for me the day it had moved on or where it had moved to, but I am back at my original setting, place of the group is. I am with a new consultant and I'm enjoying it. And we own those groups. We are the members of those groups. If you were the membership of a cricket club like Nottinghamshire County Cricket Club, you have a say. You are, they have an annual meeting and everybody has a say. But I believe that about our groups. Those groups wouldn't exist without us. Those consultants couldn't be making a self-employed living without us. We are important. And if something's happening in your group that you don't like, speak out. You don't have to speak out in front of the whole group. You can speak to your consultant privately. If there's something you don't understand, ask. If the plan's not working for you, ask your consultant to meet with you on your own. Sit down with them. Ask them around for coffee if you want to, but sit down with them and say why. What am I doing here that's not working for me? And I think it was Lisa from, hi Rufus and Lisa, I think it was Lisa who said in one of her lives recently that, she wasn't having the results that Rufus was having. But when she looked at it properly, with the help of a good consultant, and realised that maybe there were some health issues going on here, and she did something about it, the results came. And we are the most important thing on this plan. The plan is what will get you there, but you're going to have to put in the work, the effort, and make the choices. And I just love it. This will work for anybody, because as Lisa and Rufus reminded me the other week, I'm the woman who used to say, it works if you work it. But I'll also say it won't if you don't. And so there are some people out there getting amazing results because they're working the plan. Keep going, don't change it. If you're doing it by the book, keep going. Right, everybody, have a brilliant week. I'll see you next week. Bye.